Hello again and welcome to the Understanding Narcissists YouTube channel. This episode is going to be about a big topic, even if it's not a really long video. It's going to be about a really important topic, which is the narcissist's social mobility, or where they want to be in life, who they want to be regarded as, what ladder are they climbing, what position are they trying to attain. Now this is particularly interesting because it's not like other ladder climbers. It's not like other truly ambitious people who, for better or worse, want to work their way up in the world, want to be, work from wherever they are and become better and have more esteem and greater regard by others. And I'm usually talking about this in a social context, even if it's just to make more money. Still, in the kind of goals are not personal, but really from external pressures and the desire to wield power over others. Now, where I'm going to really deviate from that, the image I just painted you, is that narcissists, in my experience, don't really have those kinds of external drives. They may have fantasies about it, but they never actually really move up in the external world. And I say external, to contrast that with the internal, which is the family unit. Narcissists live, breathe, and die in the family unit. The family unit is the world, for a number of reasons I'm going to go through in this video. It's their world, and it's their only world. There's nothing more important than gaining control of the family and being seen as a good family man, person, really patriarch or matriarch. It's not just women either. Like, as traditionally you think of them as the caregivers and the person who's looking after the family and the children. It's not. It's men and women, and it's because of, in short, the reason they do that is because that's the environment they're raised in. That's really the only world they care to control, and that they can reasonably control in the first place. They're not going to do anything big externally. They never do. So it's really going to be about controlling the family because that's what they want. And to them, controlling the family is the world. It is achieving everything, because if the family believes it and thinks you're a good person, that's what they were born into, and that's what you're always trying to accomplish, really achieve as a child, and that's what they're still trying to do as adults. So, why is that? Well, I just gave a good reason, being that's been their environment, that's all they know. But it's also because that's really the only way to, given that's how they were born, that's really the only way to sustain themselves and get what they need. If a narcissist could press a button and be, the head of state of a big country or ruler of the world or anything, and then everybody would be adoring them, but they wouldn't be responsible, they would do it. I have no doubt that they fantasize about those kinds of things, power, wealth, controlling the whole horde of people, but really the narcissist environment is in the home. Usually, I can't believe I'm saying this, usually a small home, usually something modest that they can really control. And even if they have fantasies about other things, what they're really going to end up with and want is something that's modest and a family that they can control. That is the highest point. That's really what they're trying to achieve at any given point in time, what they're moving towards. I don't really think they're aware of it. I think it's just a natural thing. And it's not even that. Children add to it too. They want a spouse, but the children also allowed to create, to produce that environment and serve them as well. They want more and more people, but they want people within the family. They want people within that intimate environment. They'll have other people too outside of the family, but they're going to be inclined and really designed for the family unit and controlling the family unit. But there is a way up. And of course, that's to become a matriarch or patriarch, which is the head of a big family. That's kind of, from what I can tell, that's the highest aspiration for most narcissists, is to achieve a level of wisdom and kind of, doling out sagely advice to the lesser members of the family as the wizened, aging, not that they like to age, but they like to be in that senior position They like to be the authority. They like to be the one to tell people how it is and what to do, and they're right, and they know the world, and that kind of thing. That's where they're going to derive a lot of their power from and their control, and it's going to make them feel powerful because they're telling everybody how to feel and what to do. Now, that pretty much speaks for itself, but I'm going to talk about that a little bit more because I've seen it again and again, to the point where I'm guessing that this is going to sound so Freudian, and I really don't know why I think this. So I don't have any clear logical steps as to how I got to this. But when they're children, naturally they're trying to control the parent to get what they want because the parent's responsible and the child has no power of their own. They have no decision-making power. They don't have the capability. They're still in that mindset. So they need people to do things for them. What are they going to not aspire to? What are they going to desire the most? At the push of a button, what are they going to want? They're going to want to be the parent because they have all the power and they can make the choice. So they're going to resent the parent because they make the choices for them as the child. But they're also going to want to be the parent and the one in control. Because remember, when it kind of carries over. They want to be a parent. They want to be somebody who's in power and in control, but they can't be because through no fault of their own, in my opinion, they're ill. They're narcissistic. They're narcissists. They can't do it. And somewhere they may know that. So they're afflicted for life by no action, no choice of their own, no fault of their own. And yet, they're still going to want it. They're still going to, as a natural kind of human development is, you're supposed to become an adult and you're supposed to become responsible and you're supposed to make your own decisions and choices, but they're never going to be able to do that. So they're resentful of that. So what's the natural step the next thing is, well, I want to be a parent. I want to be the parent who's in control of the child because that's really where you want to be. That's when you have the power to make all the decisions and do what you want and have that fantasy fulfilled. Where you feel like you're, it never actually happens, but the idea, I think, what drives them is that they think then they're going to feel better. They're going to feel safe. They're going to feel safe. They're going to feel like they're validated and that they're okay people and not the horrible people that they are. And that should be sufficient if they achieve enough power. Never happens. They still rely on people even when they have all that power because if you think about it, power is only going to be exercised over other people and they need that power to control people, to give them what they want because they can't do it themselves. So they're going to be even more resentful. And I think that's also why narcissists get worse as they age. They don't improve. And if you think about what I've talked about in these previous videos, they can't improve. There's no way for them to realize it. So they only realize what's going on with them and how to fix their problems. So the natural conclusion you have to reach again is, well, they're only going to get worse because they can't get better. If you can't get better, they're not spinning their wheels even. They're sinking. They're getting worse as time goes on because it's not a healthy lifestyle. It doesn't work. Even when they achieve their, ideal situation, it's not really sustainable. It's going to blow up at some point. But even let's say they can. I've seen narcissists remain married for decades on end. So why, even in those situations, it's still very unstable. It's still very uncertain because it's an uncertain life. It's an uncertain foundation, uncertain lifestyle and mindset and way of thinking and illness. You can't get that stability, so you're always going to be in that perpetual abuse cycle, which affects you, but it also affects them. That reflects what's going on inside of them, and that's what they're always living and trying to get away from, and they can't because their methods don't work. And so you can see why it just kind of gets worse and worse, and of course the solution is to do more of what's not working, and that's what they think is a good idea. I hope you like this video. Share it with somebody you think might benefit from it. Comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye.